I believe that it's never too late to step into your purpose. It's never too late to start pursuing your dreams. But another truth is that you can unnecessarily delay that start time. And by so doing, miss out on some life-changing opportunities that you could have seized. And let me tell you, the worst feeling would be to get to the end of your life and realize that you did not fully live out your purpose. And guess what? We all will eventually get to the end of our lives because the clock is ticking. And so in today's video, I'll be sharing with you 5 things that are holding you back from finding your purpose and pursuing it with more clarity, and how you can break free from those things. The first thing that we must make every effort to stop doing is living in regret. One of the biggest time wasters and the thickest blinders that prevent us from seeing a bright future and taking steps towards that future is regret, because regret keeps us stuck in the past. You may be constantly thinking of that stupid decision that you made or action that you took that costed you your marriage, your relationships, your career, that drained your finances, sucked up your self-esteem, that just cheated you of so much time. But guess what? You will be cheating yourself of even more time if you allow regret to keep you stuck in the past. I've been there, where I'm constantly regretting a decision or choice that I made, or something I should have done that I did not do, or a wrong that was done to me. But I saw that regret only kept me stuck. And to move forward, I had to make that conscious decision to put everything behind me. There's a short story I heard growing up about a little boy who lost his money, say $1, and he was sitting beside the road crying, "I've lost my money, I've lost my money." And so somebody passing by decided to offer him the money he lost. The person gave him $1, and he was excited for a minute, and then soon after that he started to cry again. "Oh, if I had the dollar, if I did not lose that money, I would have now had $2. And then he starts crying again. Another person passing by offers him another $1 and say, "Here, now you have $2, stop crying." He was excited for a minute, and then he started crying again. "If I did not lose my $1, now I would have had $3. Now there are 2 things he's missing out here. That first, his regret is blinding him from seeing and moving forward with what is already in his hand. And the second one is that he forgot that if he had not even lost that money in the first place, there's no way he would have had what he presently has in his hand. The strength, courage, boldness, knowledge, skill, wisdom that you have right now would probably not be there had you not gone through what you went through. I know it's difficult to not dwell on past mistakes, wrong choices, or just some things that have been done to you, especially if you're still suffering from those consequences, if it still hurts. But it's not easy. It's a process, it's a journey, but you have to make up your mind to start off on that journey. And you start that journey by seeking for help. You are not the first, not the only one that has been through something like that. Somewhere out there, somebody has been through a similar situation. They overcame, and they are willing to share their wisdom with you. And guess what? There is someone out there right now who is presently going through what you went through and is equally looking out for your own wisdom. So start off on that journey by getting help, maybe professional help or help from videos like this one. But at the same time, give meaning to your pain by reaching out to help somebody else. The second thing to stop is making excuses. We all are guilty of making excuses in the past, and some of us are still making excuses even today. And often these excuses come from 2 places. From the place of regret, we have just talked about. When you dwell in regret, regret makes you do what? Beat up yourself. We beat up ourselves. And so in attempt to free ourselves of that horrible feeling of guilt, we look for excuses to justify our past mistakes, our past choices, instead of taking responsibility where needed. Another reason for excuses is because we do not want to get out of our comfort zones, or better said, we do not want to expand our comfort zone. And so we give excuses. "Oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm not educated, I don't have the charisma, I'm a woman, I live on this side of the town, I do not have resources," and that list can go on and on. To be honest, sometimes these excuses feel so real and undeniable. So something I want you to do after watching this video is to grab a pen and a paper and write down every single excuse you have. Then do a research of people who have stepped into their purpose, they have pursued their dreams, even having these excuses, even when they were surrounded with the same circumstances that you have. These stories are going to inspire you, they'll motivate you, but above all, you'll be able to see what they did differently, even with these excuses, with these circumstances. What did they do differently to excel? Today I stumbled on a short documentary, I think it was on Facebook, about Maya Angelou. And while I'm looking at this or watching this documentary, I started to think, I was like, if I was in her shoes, would I have, been this courageous to fight, considering the conditions that she was in? A woman, and she was poor. Probably if I was in her shoe, I would have chickened out, like, you know what, I don't think I can do it. I don't think this is possible. But here was a woman with all the excuses she could give, but she fought not only for herself, but even for generations to come. Some of us are seated here today because of some of the fights that others had. Nelson Mandela says, it seems impossible until it's done. That's why we need role models who show us that, difficult is not impossible. The next one is to stop being vague about your dreams. Stop being vague about what you want. What do you really want? Many times we just throw these general statements around. I want to be more healthy. I want to get out of poverty. I want a good marriage. I want, to grow in my spiritual life. What does growth in your spiritual life really mean to you? What does a good marriage really mean to you? What is getting out of poverty? What is making more money? What does that mean? 1 more cent, $1 more dollar? What does making more money mean to you? What does living a healthy life really mean to you? If you're not specific about it, it's just going to end up as desires, as wishes, and I've been there some years back. We'll have all these intellectual conversations and talk about this is a new mindset, this is how we think now, these are our desires, and they just end like wishes, no action being taken because we were not specific. I was not specific about what I really wanted. So it is very important. I think a couple of months back, when I was doing a series about growing from the inside out, the very first video I talked about, and I was using one of my dime plants as an example. I said, until you know what specific area needs growth, and what type of growth is needed in that area, you will not be able to take the necessary step to bring about that growth. It's until you are specific about what you want that you can set specific goals. And when you set specific goals, it helps you to come up with a good strategy that can bring about the results that you want. The next is to stop entertaining distractions. If you're busy, distracted, you can miss out on your time. You can miss out on some great life-changing opportunities. And distractions come in very obvious forms and not so obvious ones. The obvious distractions like phones and TVs and all of that, we can take some measures to deal with that. Something as simple as just putting your phone far away from you when you're doing a serious work is a measure that you can take. But the ones that we should be very, very careful with are those subtle distractions, the ones that keep you busy, going nowhere fast. You think that you have already stepped into your purpose, but you are far from it. Or you've taken the right first step and you think that you're still heading down the right path, but you have already strayed. You're going to a completely different direction from your why. I think that those are the distractions that we have to really pay attention to in this day and time. If there's a prayer we must pray today, it's the prayer in Psalm 39 verse 4. Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered, how fleeting my life is. Or the prayer in Psalm 90 verse 12, which says, teach us, Lord, to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Let's do our best to keep distractions away because the clock is ticking. Now, please do not skip this last point because we all need to hear this. If you're going to pursue your dreams with more clarity, with boldness and courage, you have to stop running away from God. One of the most popular quotes by the late Dr. Miles Monroe is that if the purpose of a thing is not known, its abuse is inevitable. And who can tell the purpose of a thing more than its creator? So when you find God, you find purpose. And when you find purpose, oh Lord, the 24 hours begin to feel like an hour. You have no time for regrets, no time for excuses, no time for distractions. You are able to calmly and peacefully sit down with your Heavenly Father and listen to what His plan for your life is and allow Him to lead. One of the major reasons why a lot of people find it difficult to identify and fully walk in their purpose is because they've adopted a wrong identity given to them by a world that knows nothing about why you're here. The world tells you that you're a square, and then you spend your whole life trying to be a square, and then it doesn't work. Albert Einstein says that if a fish is judged by its ability to climb a tree, then it would live the rest of its life thinking that it is stupid. You know, fish, and that fish is not stupid. That fish is not a monkey. That fish has no business climbing trees. But if that fish even knew its own identity, it would not even be trying to prove to anybody that it can climb a tree, because that is not where that fish belongs. So we need God, and the subject of needing God can be broad, but there is a first step to it, and it's a step that you can take even right now as you're watching me. This first step is a step of having a personal relationship with God, and it takes you accepting in your heart that you are a sinner fallen from glory, and believing in your heart that God sent Jesus to die for our sins and that He raised Him up from the dead. And this belief in your heart, when you confess it with your mouth, you are saved. For it is by grace, through your faith, that you are saved, not any works or anything that you are doing in order to please God. When you have a personal relationship with God, you have just opened up doors of joy, peace, and to just pursue this dream or go through this tough life from the place of rest. If you like this video, please leave me the thumbs up to let me know, and your thumbs up also helps this video to go far and wide to many more people. And if you're interested in more content like this, then please consider subscribing. Come on over and join this beautiful family of bloomers so that we can continue to take intentional steps to bloom and flourish in our everyday lives. Thank you again for joining me here today, and see you in the next. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil.